Okay, how am I opening this video? Because I am literally shook right now. As today's video is going to be about a new movie called Wicked, which is based on a novel, which I'm more into about. But the most interesting thing right here in this moment is that the founder and creator of PASSIONFLIX is Elon Musk's sister, named Tosca Musk. I was wondering how someone got the capital and the funds to create this production company of magnificent romantic brilliance. Sort of sarcasm, but also not, okay? Like every genre needs its main platform. That much leads to like, why she can afford to do this. But I'm guessing she was an early investor in Elon Musk. I was thinking maybe for money? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Just some good food for your brain. Next time someone brings up something, you can like, next time someone's talking about Elon Musk and Dogecoin, you can like drop them a little hint of fun fact wisdom. Enough about that. Hi, I'm Kaya Simone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be talking about the new PASSIONFLIX original film. Yes, they have their own original content, Wicked, which is based on a trilogy of the same name by author Jennifer L Armentrout. Hopefully I got that right. But if you don't know what PASSIONFLIX is, it's basically targeted as a streaming service for women on romantic content. So they have like their own population of romance films and series that they've done that are basically about like book adaptations. They did one on Hollywood Dirt, which I probably will do because I always thought it was like amazing. Gabriel's Inferno, they did all 3 books in a film, like spans over like 8 hours of content. Literally, I'm amazed. And they're just like trying to make your romantic comedy, romantic drama dreams come true. Yes, we had 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, you have 365 DS. But there's a lot more out there that's not pornographic content. I mean, like this kind, no, this isn't. This, what we're talking about today is not. And about that, I'm Kaya Simone and welcome to my commentary review entertainment channel. Today I'll be talking about a new original film. Yes, original film, not on Netflix, but on PASSIONFLIX. Wicked, which is based on a book by Jennifer L Armentrout, which I said I read all my novels on a Kindle. This lovely cover, which would make you think that it's based on a mermaid or something underwater, has nothing to do with that. I have no idea why all the covers are like this, but they did that. About a 20-year-old girl named Ivy Morgan, who is a fae hunter. So kind of like a vampire hunter. So she's raised from birth to hunt fae. And in this world, fae are more so like magical creatures that feed off of humans for their life, to extend their lifetime. So they're basically vampires, but they're just called fae. So we're introduced to Ivy and her friend Val, who is just giving us all this sassy, adventurous attitude of everything. This book is also based in New Orleans for some reason. I do not know why it is. There's nothing that particularly precludes it being based in New Orleans beyond talking about the French Quarter or beignets. So if you've been to New Orleans, you just slow it down just to beignets and the French Quarter. I don't know what you're doing, but hey, do you, boo, do you. We learned from the very first scene that she wears a clover on her wrist, which is a way to see what fae actually are, because they hide themselves to pretend to be human. So like to humans, they just seem like normal people, but to people who are looking for them, she wears this bracelet and Val wears a necklace. But anyway, and then the first little bit of the movie, she goes to chase down someone and then chasing them down, she has like, everyone carries these stakes to like go stab someone and kill them. But for some reason, the person she goes to, she tries to stab them. He's like, you think that can work with me? That doesn't. And then he manifests a gun in his hand and shoots her. And from what we know so far, fae do not know how to do this. So she was very confused. She's able to run back and make it to like her headquarters to find help. I guess once she gets there, we're introduced to her protagonist. You don't know that he's like her love interest and protagonist of the movie yet. But he's attractive, I guess. So like he must be. He makes this god-awful joke when he finds her on the stairs. Someone's like, hey, do you know who she is? He's just like the girl from Brave with the red hair. And I'm like, fucking trash. Literally the worst, honestly.
She kind of looks like she's from that movie Brave, one with the
I was so upset at this joke. And I went back. So I actually read the book with this because I was like, okay, let me read it. So I went back and reread the first novel. That's actually direct quote from the book. So I'll get more into that later. But like, no, like that's in the book. Don't blame PASSIONFLIX for this, okay? cinematography, hiring, scenes. Yes, not the script, not the script. Don't do the script. She wakes up, she tries to tell them that like, hey, I was attacked by someone who, a Fae who was able to manifest a weapon. And everyone's like, no girl, like Fae can't do that. And she's like, I know what I saw. And I was like, oh, you crazy girl. Like that didn't happen. Then the guy Ren who found her, called her brave, breaks into her apartment and they have a lovely little sexy on the bed where they're kind of like tussling and fighting. Or she's like, oh, you broke into my place. And he's like, oh, you totally remind me of Meredith from Brave. Didn't even remember her name. He's like, honestly, has a weird fetish with Brave, which is kind of questionable. I wish the movie delved more deeper into that. And throughout it, Ren explains to her that he's actually a part of a very super secret group within the order that deals with ancients. So he's actually an elite, because like we need a hierarchy in our system, right? What is a group without an actual hierarchy? It's like knowing there's people above you. Where their whole mission is to train and track down people who can kill ancient Faes who are harder to kill. And I was introduced to them. So like that's what he's kind of explaining to her here, that hey, you're not actually crazy, you're cute, you're hot, you're attractive, and a kind of a badass. And that like kind of sets us up to the whole main plot of the film. Another weird random thing that exists is that Ivy has a brownie living with her. No, not a brownie, like a little snack, but an actual mini fairy. We don't really know. We just know that they are basically little tiny little itty bitty little tiny little fairies with wings. And she has like kept him and protected him because he was like injured. And she just like, he's like a little pet for her now. You know, so I love that for her. He's there a lot. In the books, I guess he's there as much, but like just in a movie, it just seems like he's like in every single scene, like just like quite a scene stealer.
Oh, I thought you were dead. No one knows about me and I'd just be left here, forgotten.
And here I am just very, very shook that they had the budget to have a miniature little creature on a green screen guide him into scenes. Look at this clip here. Honestly, like, I mean, it kind of looks fake, but I was impressed. I just wasn't expecting this from this media. So I'm also a big book reader. So like I know that no character exists without, or they shouldn't exist without giving you something in the end, right? So like he has to be here for something. He must know something about the Fae. He must be a double agent. He has to carry some wider purpose to still exist. Of course, there has to be some sexy moments, of course. One of them being that they go to a club in order to track down some ancients, and they of course they have to dance on each other. I'm not doing you no justice, so like you can just see them here, like you can see them do what I am doing very, very poorly. But they do that and the chemistry is building. So basically it's honestly just a romance movie disguised as a paranormal. So this is just a full-on paranormal romance. And the whole entire point of this scene is literally just to build up their romantic chemistry toward each other that they cannot deny, more so than actually catching any Fae or having investigation leads, because nothing comes out of this. Honestly, zero. Zilch. I went back and watched and read this and I was like, I have no idea why this exists. We learned that there are 2 gates that the Order is sworn to protect. Well, no, we learned that there's 1 gate, but they later figure out that there is 2 gates. And these gates basically work that they are the portal to the other world. And the mechanics of them are kind of confusing and make zero freaking sense. But if an ancient, they're all ancient related, if an ancient were to die on the other side of the gate, being from like the other world side, that means the gate would stay closed. But if an ancient were to die in the mortal world and put their hand on it with like blood, the gate to the other world would open and other people can come in. But like it kind of like makes it confusing because like how did they get here in the first place? So we're assuming that that just means that they've always, or something happened and they got in before, which isn't really ever explained. Maybe it's explained better in the other books and other movies, but that's our main premise right now, is to figure out where the gate is, how to prevent other Fae from getting in the gates, and preventing the ancients from getting in. So redhead brave girl and hot boy stereotype, they go and visit this woman named Merle, who was like previously, I think with Merle, who was previously in the order, but she had an interaction with the Fae without her little clover and was able to get mind controlled by them, and has like kind of had effects from it. So like they have a conversation with her and she's like pretty like weird, calls like Val a hussy. I'm not calling her hussy because she sleeps with other men. And I'm like, okay, is this like foreshadowing? Is she trying to tell us that Val is like evil? It'd be helpful to know like right here and now that Val is bad, you know, like don't just call her a hussy. Very odd thing to do. But they get out from it, they learn the location of the portals. They've kind of like happened, so now we're finally staged for the next part of the film. Now that they've been together for a while, it's kind of time to figure out what is like each other's backstories. Like what is there about Ren, right? Like these have to be multi-dimensional characters. So we learn that Ren grew up in the elite. His parents were the elite because that's how that works. But we learn more of the lore about why they're trying so hard to keep ancients out of the earth. So there's this myth that there's like these half-bloods. So it means there's someone who's like half Fae, half human, and the child of that creature the prophecy says that they will mate with the prince or princess of the Fae and bring on the end of destruction of the mortal world. Like the elite, one of their tasks is to go seek out and kill these half-bloods. Is Ivy a half-blood? Like that would make the most sense of the story. So we finally learn more about Ren, and Ren tells a story about a best friend he used to have. He tells his best friend when he was younger what his whole mission in life is to seek out these half-bloods, and he tells them how he can determine it. And then how he can determine it is that with this sharp stake made out of wood from the Fae universe, the other world, once it stabs a half-blood, their blood will bubble up versus just be like a pool of blood like normal people. And so his friend is out at dinner with him and his family and somehow accidentally stabs himself with it. Kind of weird in my opinion, but that's what happens. And then his family's like, oh freak, we got a half-blood in our midst, our whole mission is to kill them. And so of course his family kills him, and so Ren carries a lot of guilt about letting his friend die at the hand of his parents. Hey, whatever. So that's the weight he carries. So it sets up two things, kind of that maybe Ren, if he were to fall in love with a half-blood, wouldn't actually be okay with killing them after all. Because at this point, we're just like, cool, there's Fae, they're bad, but like, you know, what's our action movie purpose? And then of course, Ivy has to be like, wow, that's such a great story you told me. You've opened up so much to me. And they have some bomb chicka wowie. That's stupid, I know, but that's what the brownie says. Like Tink says in this, he says bomb chicka wowie. And we get to get some nice imagery of his obviously hand-drawn tattoo. They're good tattoos. I'm not saying they're badly drawn. It's just, they obviously look fake because they're very, very thick. But now they're together and you're like, great, love that for them. But of course, after the next morning, Ivy comes to terms with what happened and she's like, oh, I wasn't ready to do that. And he's honestly just been like the nicest guy about everything, not overtly like, hey, you have to do this, or upset with her. And so then the question comes like, okay, why was Ivy weird about this? Thought she wanted it, like she seems fine in the moment, like what's really going on in her background that makes her kind of not willing to be in a relationship? Ivy tells Ren that the reason she hasn't really been in a relationship is because 4 years ago, when she was like 18, she was seeing this guy, they were in love, but they were have a dinner with her and her foster parents because their actual parents died when she was much younger. For some strange reason, Ivy decided to take off her clover item that was supposed to protect her from the Fae coming after her and compelling her, but she took it off because she was trying to look cute for some reason. And she was able to get compelled by a fae. They asked her to lure her back to where her boyfriend and her parents were, and then proceeds to murder them, but leaves her alive for some reason. Don't know, or I don't know if she killed them. I'm assuming she probably killed the fae, but again, unclear. So like that's why. So she doesn't want to give anyone clothes because she lost everyone she loved in one fell swoop. But thankfully, though, as they come to like the final point in the movie, is that they are all getting prepared for the final night where they're trying to like protect the gates. Like there's like, okay, everything is like their final scene, right? Their final battle between everyone. So here we have our final battle. This is I actually kind of enjoyed this. So like this was where like they're guarding the gates. You're like, okay, they're in a room. The gate's kind of cool. It's like in a haunted house. And it's like, okay, are they all about to die here? Are they not about to die? Of course, the fae, they break in one fell swoop. There's a fighting, there's tuffle. We're like, will Ivy live? Will Val die? Will Ren die? Who will make it out alive? Oh, the head of the order makes one announcement to everyone. It's like, hey, just as a reminder, just like little PSA for all of you. Please, whatever you do, please do not make sure you kill any ancients close to the door because they might slap their blood on it and open the portal together. Well, like, that's it. Like, that was his one PSA announcement. Everyone knows this. Val does this whole moment where she comes up to the fae, slices his neck so close to the door. Ivy's like, what the freak is happening? She's like, no, don't do that, you idiot. Did you not read the memo that happened 20 minutes ago? And Val's like kind of cheesing, and then the vampire fae, I keep calling them vampires because they're literally basically vampires, slices his neck, slaps on the door, and the portal's open. But no, that's not the end of the movie. It's not the end of the movie. So you're like, okay, so did Val do as a mistake? And then we see this, I guess it's supposed to be a hunk of man-me. I don't know. I guess the Fae Prince walks through the door. And then we see Val run out of the building. Ivy's like, wait, should I attack the Fae Prince or go after Val? So she decides to go after Val. And like they're running. I guess it's a moment. And then she finally catches Val. And Val's like, I wish I'd been anyone but you who caught me. And she walks out with this thing and like runs away. And then we're just like, whoa. Okay, so Val totally meant that. I guess that's why she was called a hussy earlier. Fae Prince shows up at the same location. They do a little tussle. Fae Prince is like, I'm gonna let you go. You're cute. Like, I'm fine. I don't need to kill you. And she's like, no, I have to kill you. It's my mission. They get in a tussle. He ends up stabbing her and like really close to her. For some reason, like he touches her blood and like tastes it. Weird. He's like, oh my gosh, what? So in the books, though, he says half blood, but in the movies, he's just like, gasp, and then goes away. So later, she's curious about it. She's like, wait, what happened here? She gets back to her apartment. She's like thinking about it. She's like, whoa, what was happening? And then she goes out. She's holding the stake, and then Tink comes. Tink's like, Ivy, what are you doing? It's like, because he thinks she's about to stab her and stuff. She's like, you purposely sought me out, didn't you? And he kind of tells her about kind of that he's been there to protect her, that his whole mission has been to track down ancients and kill them and protect the earth world, and that the other fae probably didn't notice her because like fae aren't bloodhounds, they have to be up close to you to smell that in your blood. And then Ivy proceeds to stab herself. Her blood's boiling. She thinks about all of her good times with Bran and that like, oh freak, he might actually kill me. And that's how the movie ends. So that's where we are left at the end of the film, and it says to be continued. So in case you're concerned, that PASSIONFLIX'S totally is prepared to film all 3 of these films, so you don't have to be concerned about not getting your romantic comedy fix later. I'm assuming that they probably filmed all these like at once, so they're probably filming the 3rd one. Well, so they're checking the 3rd one right now, or maybe they'll do long. This movie came in at 1 hour and 58 minutes of full content, like start to finish. A whole lot of content they're giving. They're giving you a full ass movie in these films. Like, we are not cutting any corners. We are giving you the whole spiel thought out. Okay, this gets me to my final thoughts and opinions on the movie. Final thoughts. It's kind of hard to judge these films because they are what they are. Especially the one based on the books. I read the book, and I'm gonna say pretty much verbatim, every line in this movie is from the book. Honestly, I can't think of any exceptions where it's not outside of where the Fae Prince doesn't say she's a half-blood immediately. Like, it's literally that much, line for line. So you can't say it's not staying true to source content. It's honestly the most true that any content has ever been to its source content. PASSIONFLIX'S is not out here hiring writers to up the plot. Nope, they're like, all right, we got the executive producer is the novelist itself and the writer, and that's what we're doing. Can't be mad at that. The movie itself, acting was pretty good. I wasn't mad at the acting. Like, I feel like everyone here was like full-on actors. Interesting choice for you to do, but I'm sure they paid you okay. Filming, a lot of stock imagery, especially any shots from around New Orleans was all stock footage. But hey, they on a budget. They spent all their budget making those portals, making the little ferryman fly, making the gray people gray. Like, you know, like they were doing their best out here. Pretty much like a higher budget CW film and a higher budget like a higher budget CW show, like higher budget Lifetime movie. Like they're not a full on Netflix. Like you wouldn't see this in a screen. If you saw this in a movie, like that was like one of the lowest budget films I've ever seen. But that's what they were trying to do. Like they know their demographic. They are giving you sappy romantic drama with some good backstory, with some attractive leads, and they're giving you like your little sex scenes. Like that's what they're doing here. Like that, if you want more than that, this is not the content for you. And I think that's what I honestly didn't think it was bad. I honestly think I enjoyed it more than the book, just because like the pacing, and it was nice to see how the characters interact a little bit more and get a little bit more of the world itself. Because I feel like maybe in the book it was kind of lacking like the world building aspect, and I feel the movie actually did build the world. So I'm not mad at it. I'm looking forward to the next two films. I probably won't read the books to catch up to them, but I'll definitely be watching the later two films. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. I'm Kaya Sohn. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let me know down below your thoughts on this content. Did you like Wicked? Have you watched a PASSIONFLIX'S before? Is filling the void in your life on your romantic dreams and your romantic wishes? I would love it to know. Alright, that's all I have today. Thank you guys again. Bye.